What's up, everybody? This is Carson from 3D Joe's, and I'll try to keep in mind that you guys are here. I was dreading the idea of doing a Kickstarter update because you guys know how detailed I am with those, and it would take me days to put all this information into an update. So I hope you don't mind me sharing via video. So what we're going to talk about first is the figure development notes. So this is the figure development kind of sequence that we're going through here. So wave one, the sculpts are done, the casts are done, the paint masters are done. These are already at the factory. They've already been scanned and they've already been revised in terms of 3D modeling. So we're doing some polishing techniques there for the 3D models. General and Orthrus, Dark Reapers, Breacher and Hellhound, and Werejackal and Mazubicor, they're the first wave. And that's just, number one, those are some of the most popular characters. But number two, those were the ones that the sculpts were ready, like tight. And the paint masters were done. So it's a culmination of a few factors as to why those went first. The next wave of four will be Ratella and Hummer, Bearclaw and Wilson, Babel, and Saul Eagle. So they're already mailed to the factory. And so I'm waiting to hear that they have those and that they're scanning those so that we can get underway with the 3D modeling revisions. And then wave three likely will be Lilith. Of course, the Ratella and Hummer is just a repaint, Salty Dog and Cadavers. Maybe, but maybe Clinker and Tank might skip ahead. All of these are underway in terms of getting painted. So I'll give you guys an update on the paint masters in just a little bit. All right, so that's kind of the figure development overview. Let's look at the first two factory prototypes. This should be exciting. Werejackal is the leader, Mazubicor is the clan. This is the factory scans, and you can see how many rounds of revisions that we go through, basically. These are the first factory prototypes. And what I'm going to do, I want everybody to be able to stow all their equipment. And so I've decided, I don't really love the ammo can as a standalone accessory that doesn't plug into the backpack. The backpack is already 3 ammo cans stacked on top of each other with some belts and some pockets of some grenades. And so what I'm deciding to do instead is lengthen this ammo belt and connect it into the backpack like a Scorpion backpack. They actually have these, if you Google Russian Scorpion backpack. You have 3 ammo cans, and basically the top one is your feeder. So we're going to make a longer ammo belt, and then that is a South African rifle. I wanted to get kind of geographically close in proximity to where these people are from. These are African troopers with scarification on their arms, which you probably already heard about. We're making, small tweaks like this. Like I'm like, make sure that backpack peg isn't too long. So when it's pushed all the way in, it's flush up against his back. So that's the kind of revisions that we're looking at right now. We're adding the belt slot there. So the same belt slot that's in the gun will connect around there. And it'll feed around like this. Again, that's a Scorpion backpack. We're not doing the tray where everything is like showed off. I want this to feel more vintage, where things are kind of, there's 1 or 2 accessories that are featured prominently, like the machine gun here and the knife here, but then everything else is in that bubble. So this is a look at the year 1 Mazubicor, which is the jungle trooper, and then the year 2 Werejackal, which is the leader of Mazubicor, and that's a beautiful art by Doug Hart. The line art is just a placeholder, and I'll show you a more revised package design here in just a little bit. This is the color setting for the year 1 Werejackal. And that's a paint master that's already been completed. And these are all to scale, showing inches and millimeters. And just for fun, the in real life scale of each of those. So if you like seeing that kind of stuff, follow the Operation Recall social media accounts. And you can see images for each of the paint masters with the scales, both in inches and millimeters and the in real life scale. This is the year 2 deco for Werejackal, who's the leader. So revisions like this, we need to make the hands a little bit bigger, for example, need to make handles larger, whatever. We're just tweaking stuff. Make sure that the barrel is thick enough, that the handle is thick enough. And these are the kinds of revisions that we're going through with the factory. But this is the first working prototype. This will be heat sealed together, this form. So don't worry if you see a gap like that. Obviously, that's not going to be in the final product. That'll be sealed together, glued together. This is a comparison, a height comparison. You see one of the original Real American Hero figures on the left, and you see one of the new Delta 17 figures on the right. And you see Mazubicor right there and General Mortefero right there. And so both of these models are ready. This is the deck that's focused on Mazubicor. Yep, so if I roll under it like that, then you can see the figure. I put geared up. He's got some balloon tic-tac in there right there, but we've actually got a peg on this rifle. And we're adding that peg hole on the ammo backpack. So we won't need to use the tic-tac on the next version. So yeah, I mean, he's looking great, looking really, really good. It's super exciting for me. Honestly, when I saw this the first time, this was last week, but I teared up, man, because it's really happening. It's crazy. This is such a long process. There's so much that goes into it, and it's just really, really exciting to see these figures start to take shape. So there's General Mortefero, and his knife will be pegged into his hips right there, and the Mizuno core at his back. And yeah, so that's your first look at those two prototypes. I wanted to show you guys those. And then here's the General Mortefero deck. I'll shoot through a little more quickly, talking about various things. Where should it peg in? We started talking about the image stands. I've actually been developing those this week, so I'll show you that in just a little bit. This is great. This has a little peg that pegs into the shoulder. It's going to be a softer PVC material, and it actually does not hinder his arm articulation. So one of the things that Mark Pennington in particular likes to call for is kind of shoulder armor. But as you guys know, the shoulder joints, that's a ball joint. It requires, kind of 360-degree angle movement. And so you can't put a lot of shoulder pads or shoulder armor on these guys without doing something like this, where we have a peg that comes out through here. It actually comes off of there a little bit and pegs into the shoulder. And that peg itself has a lot of flexibility, and that allows you to move the arm up and down. So I'm excited that that's working. This is a sneak peek at the masked Mortefero and the unmasked Mortefero. I'm going to skip off that. I don't want y'all to look at that too much. Year one will be the masked Mortefero. Doug Hart in the painting added these bootstraps, and these lines were already in there from Mark Pennington's original design works, and he illustrated those. But he added these straps because I provided these photos of these boots. Yeah, he kind of took it literally and added them. I was like, sweet, I like that. So now we're going in at the factory and sculpting those straps into the mold itself. So those are the kinds of revisions that we're doing. Again, making the hands a little bigger, checking how they look with the weapons, making this pistol a little bit larger, checking the heights, and then looking at a bunch of photos and videos. I love this one with him walking towards you. He's going to be a super intimidating guy. He's a great character. Again, he stands a little bit taller. He's about 4 inches. So he's going to be taller than your traditional O-ring action figures of the 80s. So when you look at this little comparison right here, you can see Rooster's pretty tall too from Delta 17. So yeah, he's going to be about 4 inches. So anyway, I should mention a shout out to guys at Delta 17. We are actually working with their factory. These guys are super responsive and super professional, and you can see the detailed communications back and forth. So I'm feeling really good about our decision and who we're working with. All right, so that's General Mortefero and the Mizuno core. And so Dark Reapers, I've been working through these with another former Hasbro guy, Carter. If you want to follow him on social media, related to Carter the Conqueror. This gives you an idea of how much revision we're doing on the 3D sculpting. So starting at the bottom is the original raw scans from Bill Merkline with a head by Mike Good. And then moving on up is Carter's first take on it. All the red stuff is markup or feedback, that I put in there to try to revise and make these things as good as possible. So for one example, like the eyebrow just kind of goes up and over like the middle, like an arch. And I was like, well, what if we did like a little bit of a bend down in the middle so you had more of this kind of angry expression on the helmet and goggles, little stuff like that. Or, Ron Rudat's on for a buckle detail here, or can we add some more details to the gloves? And so we're really, there's a strap here. So we're really getting into the weeds, getting into the details, provide some reference photos of what kind of glove details I would like to see. Ron Rudat wanted these clasps on the front, so let's add those. So then when you scroll up one more, you can see, yeah, those additions have been made. The gloves look great. The clasps are now there. And so this is what Dark Reapers is looking incredible. He's our most popular figure, and he looks freaking awesome. And you can see we've got the Orthrus split skull logo on his shoulder there with the same texture. That's another one of those revisions that we made, I believe, in round 3. Like you see, originally it was smooth and it was big, to where I was worried it was going to block that articulation of that shoulder. So we shrunk it down a little bit, moved it down a little bit, and then we added that texture to it. So just those kinds of revisions are what we're making right now. So that's Dark Reapers, and he's done in a fluid. And so next is the prototyping from the factory. Now, Breacher and Hellhound, we've been going through revisions again with Carter. Carter's amazing. Thank you, Carter, for helping us. You've been a great addition to the team. And again, it's another former Hasbro guy. So Operation Recall, bringing these guys back to active duty. It's been exciting to work with him. He's been amazing. And so you could see, previous and revised. I think this is actually like round 2 and round 3. So you don't even see the originals. But Carter has added so much value to this sculpt. We've got a nice handle built in on the back here. So Breacher's carrying a Kel-Tec, which is a bolt-up 12-gauge shotgun. And so on the previous round, we had these magazines that were no longer relevant to the weaponry that it's carrying. So, me from an art direction standpoint, I'm like, no, we got to scrap that. We got to put in 12-gauge shotgun shells. So those are the types of things we're trying to catch. He's also got 40 millimeter grenades from the China Lake, which is a 40 millimeter grenade launcher. And then he's got his medical pack on the other side. So this is the final version of the dog in Hellhound, and he looks just fantastic. Just a beautiful Belgian Malinois. Very excited to be bringing him to the line. And then when we go up here and look at Breacher, you could see how it's just like looser on the previous, right? This is a beautiful sculpt by Bill Merkline, but to be honest, we need to clean up some things, right? So if you look at the LED light bar on his chest, right there and then there, you see the difference. So there's a lot of cleanup in here. We still keep it. It's still got that analog kind of sculpted by hand feel, but there's a lot of value being added. I believe Carter added these knife gashes in the forearm armor, which was informed by the original design by Mark Pennington. So we're trying to, at all times, reference the original design. Like, so you see the knife here on the boot, and it looks pretty good, but this knife looks better, right? So we're just doing some cleanup, mainly on hard surface stuff where needed. We've obviously fixed the shoulders so that the shoulders are coming out over the ball socket joint. That was something that I wanted to make sure that we addressed from the original versions. Our buck did not force sculptors to push that all the way out, and it looks much better when you do. And so we're going in and being very cognizant of that. So it's just basic cleanup, and it's looking amazing. Carter, you're doing a wonderful job, and thank you for joining us. That is the update for the figure sculpts, the 3D sculpting. Now let's look at the logo development. All right, so Ron Rudat was helping me with the logo development here. Let's do it. Branding, A.T.L.A.S, and Orthrus. So if you guys aren't familiar, A.T.L.A.S is the Anti-Terrorist Legion of Allied soldiers. And I started with Ron just doing rough sketches, right? Just getting rough sketches. This is just like how we did the figure development. He throws a lot of ideas at me, and I give him some feedback, and then he gives me more ideas. So this is kind of the A.T.L.A.S round 2, where we had our kind of center globe with the A for A.T.L.A.S and then the eagle, and we were going back and forth on the wings. And this was our Orthrus original pass on ideas. So basically, once he gave me those sketches, I would go in and I was building these out in Photoshop for this one. Let's see, there's one version, playing around with some gradients and seeing how colors would treat it. And just trying to evolve it. There's different wings. Let's see, there's the upward swept wings. So we tried a few different things, and I'll close that out. And this is the final logo, but this is actually a battle ribbon from year one. It's kind of like star points from Palatoy or flag points from Hasbro. It's going to be our kind of program where you flip and sage for premiums. And here's where we stand. Let's see, A.T.L.A.S version 3. And this is a full resolution sketch of Ron's final line art. And then here is its rebuilt Bandicle and Strago. All right, so that's what our A.T.L.A.S logo looks like in full colors. I think it looks great, and you're going to see it in multiple applications here in a second. And then Orthrus, which is a two-headed dog from Greek mythology. And we had this beautiful split skull icon that came from the cadaver submissions from Chad LaForce. And we knew we wanted to integrate that into our bad guys before we had developed the concept of Orthrus. And so Orthrus is a two-headed dog. I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but basically in the first 8-issue arc or so, if we're fortunate enough to produce comic books, in the first 8 issues, you will meet Orthrus. They will have a tremendous impact on A.T.L.A.S. And then by the second story arc, perhaps she meets the second head of that. So this is the final Orthrus. And I love the red in the eyes, the red in the gums, and then the red in the rings behind it. It's a beautiful logo, and I think it works really well in various applications. And so the next thing to do after we have the logo design was to start developing our figure stands. So we're working with the factory, and we're looking at delivering this summer. It's time to figure out these details, right? We are going to be including figure stands. And so what you probably saw in this folder is all these versions of the logo from the stands. Well, basically, I had to figure out what depth I wanted each of them to be at. And then I had to rebuild that in Autodesk Fusion 360 and create these figure stands. But one of the cool things that we're doing, check this out. these stands will actually hold a card back up. The card back is fully supported by this figure stand. So this is a Delta 17 card back, but this works with the Hasbro card backs as well. So I think that's a nice innovation. These are a little deeper than traditional stands, so it'll allow for the figure to stand up front and then to have a full gear pack on their backpack or what have you, and be in a dynamic pose. And I want you guys to be able to put the figure on the stand right here in front of the card backs. I want you to save those card backs and display that beautiful Doug Hart art with these stands in place. All right, so this is the A.T.L.A.S logo for the figure stand, and this gives you an idea. This is version 3, so you can see the kind of intricacy of the design. I'm not a 3D guy traditionally. I do animation and video editing for a living. So getting in here and actually doing some 3D modeling with this level of complexity was a ton of fun. I literally had a blast, man. I felt like I had a breakthrough where I finally kind of understood some things in Autodesk Fusion. So that was very exciting for a nerd like me. Anyway, so there is the A.T.L.A.S logo on the figure stand. Move that around just so you can see the level of depth. So it's not like a tremendous amount of depth for that logo. You want the feet to be able to stand over it and it not, hurt the functionality of the purpose of the foot peg, which is to hold the figure down. Okay, so let's go into the bodies here. And I'm going to turn off the A.T.L.A.S logo, turn on the Orthrus logo, and give you guys a look at that one. This is just a mean logo, man. I freaking love it. The split skull in the middle. Thank you, Chad of the Force. And thank you, Ron Rudat, for the beautiful two-headed dog. It's dope, man. It looks really, really cool. And seeing it in person with the level of depth and like the way the shadows play off of it, you guys are going to love these stands. The thing that I'm most excited about is it has that dual functionality of allowing you guys to stand file cards or trading cards or full card backs if you want to with your figure. So that's exciting. All right, let's check out the Paint Masters. And here we go. If you guys are ever curious, kind of what are all the figures that we're developing, I would recommend you go to the Operation Recall roll call page. And that has all the figure designs. The first batch is like the most up-to-date kind of visuals. The second batch is the line art that Ron Rudat and Mark Pennington did for the figure designs. And then the third batch is the Paint Masters. And these are very cool. You guys should be checking these out. These have the inches, the millimeters, and the in real life translation of that. So like Bear Claw would be 6 feet and 2 inches tall, for example. Or Breacher would be 5'9". Or Bengals 5'8", she's pretty tall. Dark Reapers are 5'11". Or Pharaoh 6'2". Anyway, get in there, click around, have some fun. We'll put them together for you guys. Thank you for your support and helping us do it. All right, so this is a shout out to Alex Bainter, Chris Scott, Matthew LaCroix, and Ray Murphy. All these guys are the Paint Masters. They're the ones doing this labor. So when we have these guys sculpted, we then have them cast by Scott Andrews, Lightning 3D. Shout out to Scott. Thank you for your partnership. Now, Alex Nature is working right now on run back. And so there's the front look at a run back, and there's the back look at run back. And then here's the head for Clanker. Beautiful head sculpt. I asked Mike Good to base it on Brandon Lee. And I think it's just a really good looking head sculpt. Clanker is our Ninja Turtle, basically. He's got a bunch of homemade armor. He's a guy that likes to kind of weld and put together his own costume. He's got a lot of personality. So there's Clanker. I love the paint apps. The paint apps really bring this figure to life, man. The multicolored green camo and also the back basically has this like turtle shell, two-tone turtle shell on top of the brown armor, which is just really great. And here's his little buddy, Tank, who's our tactical tortoise. And so there's a good look at Clanker and Tank. And this is actually by Ray Murphy. I know he worked his butt off, especially on all these accessories. So thank you, Ray. And then Matthew LaCroix is currently working on Soul Eagle. And there's the torso and the head. I think he was waiting on some paint for the rest of them. I think he's finishing that up this week. And then this is next up on Matthew's plate. So this is Scrounger. I love his removable pipe. I had a grandfather, Carson Abel Roberts, that I'm named after that always smoked a pipe like that. So that was really fun to get him to the line. And then here's Night Raid with his gigantic NSV Russian machine gun, Scorpion belt, ammo belt, and then his backpack with his little dog bowl and his water bottle for his little buddy there, who is Ozzy. And so those are the Paint Masters that are underway. And the last thing I'm going to do is show you the art updates. This is what I just picked up. I went on a big trip to New York and Rhode Island and Massachusetts and picked up several paintings from Doug Hart. And these are super high resolution scans, so that they might take a second to load. Yeah, plus I've got a bunch of other applications open, as you can see. So we've got snakeheads, we've got general mortifero. Let's see. Run back for paintings. Yeah, I'll show these to you guys later. I probably will put up a review with these paintings once I've got them edited. So let me just go ahead and force click preview. All right, so the last big thing I want to show you guys is what I've been working on for the last couple of days. And that is revised packaging. So I'm working on this right now. Here's a look at the revised packaging, starting to build out that cross sell. So I'm getting ready to add 5 more people to the cross sell, maybe 6. And perhaps I'll send this out through the Kickstarter as well. That was a lot to review. I hope you guys enjoyed me catching you up on where we're at. We've got a whole team working on this stuff, you guys. As you can probably tell, we've got sculptors, we've got figure designers, we've got master painters, we've got 3D sculptors, we've got factory manufacturing. Big Joe, shout out to Big Joe. There's just Doug Hart is still cranking on package paintings. He's got like 4, 2 of them that are in progress right now. I just got off the phone with him. So there's so many moving pieces here, and we're going to bring it to you. And we're looking to do wave 1 this summer. And the next 4 waves, we're going to have 19 figures, guys. This is a huge line. That's a lot of moving pieces, but we're doing it right. And it's more important to do it right than to do it fast and try to meet some self-imposed deadline. So thank you all for your patience as we work to develop this line. We couldn't have done it without you. We would not be here making these toys without your support. So thank you so much for that. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the update. I'm going to circulate this through the Kickstarter, and once I'm done with this package update, I'll probably include that with this video on Kickstarter. And that about wraps it up for me. Hope you guys are having a good day, and thank you for joining me. And now just got to find the exit button. Later.